the computer building here at Argonne National Laboratory, housing the world's biggest computer. How I got here, and it is a good question, how I got here. Dave Yoka, landscape architect, he's out of Grand Rapids, Michigan now, but he was in Illinois and Elmhurst with Conservation Design Forum. I knew him and he called me to help with the thoughts on landscaping in front of this new building. And I presented him with the idea of the gravel garden because there were concerns on cost for care. They had a prairie put in, the prairie didn't do well. It was just randomly seeded and we got, it just didn't do well. And owners were concerned that this gravel garden would be similar to that, but they liked the concept, and I shared with them the gravel garden Jeff Epping did for Epic in Verona about 4 or 5 years ago, and it's beautiful. Beautiful gravel garden over a garage, underground garage. So they like the idea, especially with the stewardship in the future. There's very little to do. No mulching, plants don't get moved. They're here for a long period of time. You can stay healthy because their crowns are drained well. So they went with it, and then I designed it spontaneously with Austin Eischeid helped on a really big part, the main island. He designed the main island, and Dave came up with the grading, the tree placement, woody placement, and it's all working out. And the watering crew, you can see there's 2 of them watering now. They've done a super job with atrium. I think to water the area, I'm not sure again how many square feet, but it takes about 25 hours, and they water once every 3 days. If it rains, they can skip a day, but it really hasn't rained since we put this in. It rained one good day after we planted, the first day of planting. So that was my involvement, and I'm very excited about the opportunity and the possibilities of showing people, especially developers who care about their property, who stay with their property. They see opportunities for beauty, high level of beauty, at lowering traditional costs of wood chipping, weeding, and replacing plant material. So this is a great opportunity for plants, for new processes. And again, it's thanks to Cassian Schmidt and his foresight into thinking how plants can live in alternative situations. So hooray, Cassian, thank you. All right, everybody, on we go to the process of planting. And I'm hopefully finishing today, tomorrow, the gravel garden planting. Austin Eischeid did some great patterns when he was here last Monday. So I'm playing off of his tonal colors and softening it with soft yellows. I have Echinacea, I think it's Maui yellow. I've never used it before. We got it from Radke's. So one, we'll see about durability and dependability. And I'm mixing that with Rudbeckia American Gold Rush, Panicum ruby ribbons, you can see, and Perovskia Little Spire. So it's basically islands of each of those plants, a little heavier on the Perovskia, a little softer on the Perovskia, a little heavy on Rudbeckia, soft on Rudbeckia, and kind of mingling it through this area, going up against the building where we have Eupatorium milk and cookies, and Blackhawk, Andropogon Blackhawk from Intrinsic Nursery. And I'm mixing that with Echinacea pallida, transitions into Echinacea pallida, and Liatris scariosa. And I continue with the Perovskia Little Spire to where the guys are sitting there on break. And then we'll pick up some new patterns over there. And in between all this, where you see gaps and holes, is Sporobolus heterolepis. So we'll use Prairie Dropseed in the gaps and holes. So that's right now at Argonne, and we'll show you some more patterns a little later. Right now I got to stay ahead of the guys. They're on break. It's like a tsunami of people right behind me. So I'm hoping to do my best. This is the planting of the gravel garden along the outside of the building going towards the parking lot. And the way I actually put this process together was listing plants that had have good durability and a forgiving nature to soil conditions. And then I used percentages based on how I would create the plant communities emotionally. So I put nothing on paper. None of this was drawn on paper. It was just picking plant numbers, percentages of each, and then how do I feel? How do I feel the patterns are going to flow? Which direction will they flow? And putting a percentage by each plant used based on how I would mix them together. So the first is ruby ribbons, Panicum ruby ribbons, and Perovskia Little Spire. And I have that drifting all the way through, across the walk, and down and around the far oak tree, and to the large walkway. Then I changed the patterns in between that. I've put Echinacea Maui, it's a yellow, and then it crosses to Echinacea Sombrero red. And then in between this, in the openings, you'd be Sporobolus heterolepis. And I dabbled in a few Platycodon alba. So a few white balloon flowers kind of trickling through the mix when the plantings are about 3 to 4 feet tall. And down here is Boltonia, as I mentioned, James Crockett, a wonderful Boltonia, rarely grown, and I don't know why, but it's a great Boltonia, mounding with a nice habit, and it's mixed with Salsa autumnalis and Salvia crystal blue, and the crystal blue then has Allium summer beauty with it, and that crosses the walk also and then stops. So let's take a look around the corner. You see the crystal blue and the Allium summer beauty, Salsa autumnalis in between, and then little moments of Rudbeckia American Gold Rush. And you see the Perovskia comes around the corner, Panicum, ruby ribbons, Perovskia. Then we pick up Echinacea pallida in between here. This will be filled with Sporobolus, repetition of American Gold Rush. Eupatorium milk and cookies against the wall with the dark foliage. Echinacea pallida, another group of Perovskia. So it just repeats this. And then Vernonia summer swan song and Solidago golden fleece. And we pick up Sporobolus and Echinacea, and then a moment of Achillea heliglashoff. And there's the Sombrero red. And again, this is Sporobolus weaving through here. And we'll cut through the garden. You see the Salvia crystal blue. And then we pick up Coreopsis Zagreb. And Zagreb is in little islands across the path and all the way down and across. That stops. And in the middle, it's Panicum ruby slippers with Echinacea pallida and some Liatris scariosa. And then it's an island of Sporobolus all the way through the middle with the Panicums as architectural features, and 2 islands of Limonium. So I have Limonium dabbled between it. So I think right now, maybe some silence from me, and we'll just finish the walk. Coreopsis Zagreb mixed with Allium Big Beauty. Again, that's from Intrinsic. And the white Achillea Peter Cottontail, Penstemon digitalis, and then larger groupings of Sporobolus in these vacant open areas. And it ends with Echinacea Sombrero red. And up against the wall is Andropogon Blackhawk with Summer Swan Song, Vernonia, Solidago Aurora, and in front of that are some Calamagrostis Carl Forster, and that's repeated on the building as you go into the building and along the building, the glass part of the building, as people walk from one section to another. So that's the end of the building. I think the Andropogon Blackhawk is very cool. It's going to be very vertical, red foliage with Carl Forster shorter in front of it as the Blackhawk matures. And Eupatorium milk and cookies, and summer swan song with the solidago. So it should shape up well. And again, the critical part of this is the watering. And right now, let's make a sweep. You can see there's 2 people hand watering now up on Austin Island. I will call that Austin Island for now. Austin's good design of that particular spot. Hi, it's Roy. We're doing a large gravel garden. Austin and I designed an atrium. He's doing the planting. So we're going to show them how to plant in the gravel the proper way so the plants don't bring soil into the gravel. So what we first do is we have 4 to 5 inches of gravel over the soil, and that's the weed barrier to keep the weeds out. And we give all the credit in the world to Cassie and Schmidt. This is a super concept that he evolved in Germany, and I saw it in 2009. I believe it was 2009, and I couldn't believe that this wasn't happening everywhere. So anyway, you dig through the gravel, and it's about 5 inches as you can see. And then right when you see the soil, you take the plant out of the pot. You have the bucket where you just take off some of the soil from the bottom. Like this, put it. You don't want to drop the soil on the gravel. That means you'll have weeds. You put the soil in here and you put it back in the hole you dug, and you're done. But you don't want to dig into the gravel. You want to plant right on top of the gravel. And then you want to take some of that root ball off and then put it right on top of the soil so you don't disturb the soil and bring the soil in so we have weeds. And that's it. You just go along and scrape away. This is excellent. Look at that. We got 5 inches of gravel here. Very good. You can see the soil down below in the hole. See the earth down there, right there. Take the plant out of the pot. Break off the roots like that. In the hole by the earth. Cover it up. And that's it. And there's only 6,000 plants. Hi everyone, it's last day of planting here. We have everything laid out and planted. There's one group of plants you have to plant on top. I think everything went well today. We put in 2600 Sporobolus heterolepis and use that as a filler material in between all the patterns. You can see this is Austin Island. It's the island Austin designed. Everything is looking good. Well, it's new too. And it's that old saying Tom Wolfe told me. He was the head guard at the Art Institute for 32 years. He said, you don't want this to be the best it's ever going to look. It's not all about the ribbon cutting. This wants to continue to grow, to develop, and look good. 10, 20 years from now, this should really look good. So I'm excited about this opportunity. And right now, it's all about the good start. So I think the team is leaving. They did a great job of planting. And everything's in the ground and watered. The Sporobolus got watered today. And tomorrow they'll finish up. So thanks everybody for being here. And again, we'll go through the process again in one show about 5 inches of gravel, planting in the gravel, watering frequently, and then when the plants get established, when they touch the earth and root in, all that's over for the most part. And we'll discuss that. But it's very dependent on each site, as you know. Each area that's planted has its different characteristics and different way of feeding.